I think the TV switched off. No, sorry. TV went into standby mode. Okay, back again. Another episode of A Muslim and an Atheist Breaks Bread. Part, what you saying?
Yeah, that too.
It's only water. So, Sunday, man, it's quite warm today, so it's not too bad. I mean, it's overcast, but it's warm, so I can live with that. I can live with it. You had a good week?
Yeah. Yeah, it's over now.
Yeah. It's never over. So, we're going to do today the truth about heaven and hell. What happens after you die? What do you think happens? What do you think happens when you die?
You get judged and you go to heaven or go to hell.
Is that what you think happens?
Yeah.
When you say you get judged, do you think it's like, you know, like when people depict it and it's like a big queue and you just got like bare people just waiting by like some gates or something, and then it's like someone's ticking you off. How do you get judged is what I'm asking you.
Question and answer.
What, you get asked questions and you have to answer them? Do you think?
Isn't that the idea of accounting for, you know, otherwise you just go straight from this existence into the fire, and if they...
Well, what I'm saying is, so how would people be judged?
Well, in religious teaching, in the same way, I think both Islam and Christianity say Jesus gonna come back before the last day, and then after that period, you know, people will be judged. World end of days kind of.
But what standard do they get judged on? Do they get judged on?
Standard.
Yeah, so that's what I'm saying. So is it like just a universal standard that remains the same throughout time?
No, because there's no universal religion, is there? So there is a universal standard where I would imagine, you know, the rules and the tenets between
are all the same.
are kind of centered around a certain behavior type and everything, and this is what makes a good character person. And I think all religions aim to try and create that good character person, but in terms of how them practice and achieve that, maybe some of the religions don't provide enough information so that people can actually make that change. So where you have the charismatic religions, you know, people get very hyped up, or the money churches, it's not really centered on the religious aspect, it's the group mass consciousness stuff going on. Whereas within Islam, everybody have a duty to memorize and learn and recite and quote. No, the learning part by itself is beneficial, never mind all the rest of the activities that surround it. So if you can really single out bad parts, like any part, then it'd be worth talking about. But there aren't really any bad parts in it. What do you have to do except pray, be of good character?
I was just about to say, so you have
charity.
to be of good character.
Well, there's tenants set out, like me say. So the pillars of Islam is just basically do this, and it covers most of what you're doing. Or if you pursue this road, it should lead to
No, it doesn't guarantee it.
outcome. There's no guarantees.
Because this is what I'm saying, like you can follow the pillars of Islam, but then go home and beat your wife up.
Well, you wouldn't be following the pillars of Islam then, would you? I mean, publicly you can do it.
No, I mean privately or whatever.
Well, this is what I'm saying, but you wouldn't be following
The pillars.
teachings if that's what you was doing, would you?
Yeah.
So yeah, men fall short. The premise of all of them is that people sin, that come in a variety of forms. The Deuteronomy, Leviticus, Moses' laws exactly the same way. Denote what you can wear, what you can eat. That's the same as the Islamic laws. You know, the Islamic ones may introduce a few more things than the Jewish ones, but
Yeah,
it
it's the
is
same
centered
premise.
around creating the same effect. So yeah, people will get judged based on that criteria, I imagine. You know, the only difference is how much of it is evolution of someone else's thinking. As I said, there's old time knowledge, and this is just fragments of it packaged, people repackage it and representing it. But I think there is a single consciousness and a greater knowledge that everybody have to come to, which them saying, end of days, everybody will know the greater knowledge. So,
Yeah.
you know, that unity of God.
Okay. Well, we're gonna jump into the video.
So when you declare them dead, for you they are dead. As far as that person is concerned, in a way, all that's happened is he's disembodied. He's lost his body.
When somebody dies, we say this person is no more. That's not true. That person is no more the way you know them, but they still very much exist. There are innumerable such beings all around you, whether you know it or you don't know it.
The disembodied being is in a certain state of pleasantness. It is this that is being referred to as heaven, because they have left their physical body in a certain state of awareness. They enjoy the sweetness at a certain period of time.
Sadhguru, you said about life, and that brings a big question what doctors have about life. Now they say we have 1 trillion cells in our body, and each of these cells is living by itself. And when you say a patient is no more, it's just that the brain dies after 2 or 3 minutes, but still a large part of his body is still alive.
That has changed now. Doctors are saying the brain lives for over 10 hours. Today, the new…
So he is dead, but the brain is living. His skin, his muscles, his bones live for many hours. So we have said he is dead, but a large part of his body is still alive. So, and these cells, even when after the patient is dead, you take these cells and…
Those of you who are all shaving every day, even after you're dead, we still have to shave you, you know this.
Yeah, the hair grows.
That is why I'm ready, you know. Now, you asked why if somebody is dead, still some of the cells are active. It has been recorded up to 10 hours, there is a lot of activity, and actually the brain goes into a certain level of activity and produces certain very surprising elements in 10 hours after somebody is medically dead. As I said, dead bodies are given a shave up to 10, 11 days. Why this is so? What we're calling as life physically is a mechanism on many different levels. There is hardware and there is software. You are core of hardware, bones. The software is equally important. Otherwise, how would a cell know that it's a human cell? That it is not a pig cell or a tree cell or something else? How does it know? Because there is an entire software, there is memory, evolutionary memory, genetic memory, karmic memory, there are varieties of memories imposed on every cell in the system so that it never gets confused. If you eat dog food for 3 days, you will not become a dog, isn't it? Because the memory is entrenched in this. So there is a whole software. The software package is actually bigger than the hardware, much bigger. And it is energized by what we are considering as a life force. In yoga, we call this prana. It manifests itself in 5 basic dimensions. There are other forms to it, which gets too complicated. 5 basic forms. These are called pranavayu, samanavayu, apanavayu, udanavayu and vyana. These have different functions. Prana is related to breath, respiratory action and thought process. If the pranavayu depletes, your respiratory action will go away. So immediately doctor checks and says, he's dead. They'll try to pump their chest. If he doesn't come back, he's dead. Respiration and your pulmonary action are very directly connected. Once respiration stops, that process will naturally come to an end. So pranavayu is gone. It's not like one after another they will go. They will go at the same time, but one goes means this is gone. If samanavayu goes, this is in charge of generating heat in the system. So once samanavayu starts receding, the body starts getting cold and it also starts becoming stiff. Once apanavayu starts receding in a major way, then the sensory aspect of it, we must understand this. You may check somebody's breath and declare them dead, but they can still feel sensations. There have been any number of cases where people get terrified because a dead body moves a little bit. This has happened again and again, many times. That when he's been medically declared dead, there are twitchings in the body that happen in a very mild way because the sensory activity is still on. Still, life is not fully convinced that it's finished. It is still making an effort of its own. When udhanavayu goes away, then the buoyancy is gone. When I say buoyancy, see, you may weigh 70 or 80 or whatever number of… I'm sorry, maybe you weigh 50 or 55 kilograms, whatever is your weight. Let's say you're very happy and alive right now, you don't feel 50 kilograms on you, isn't it? Hello? Yes. It is there. If you stand on the scale, it is there. But when you walk, it is not there, simply because this udhana creates a buoyancy. It makes you less available to gravity. There are yogic practices to activate this. There's a whole school of Udan in China where you might have seen those movies, Hollywood movies, what is that? Crouching Tiger, something. What? Yes. So these are Udan schools where they have mastery over Udana, where they can float around a little bit. Well, little exaggerated in the movies, but becomes lighter, more buoyant body. For a martial arts fighter, to be buoyant is important. There have been many cases where certain ballet dancers and martial arts experts have shown what is physically not possible they have done by leaping up to heights which all physicists believe is simply impossible. But they've gone beyond that level simply by creating more buoyancy. So udhana is in charge of buoyancy. Once udhana starts receding, suddenly body becomes heavy. Always it was the same weight. Weight does not increase, but you can feel the weight much more simply because udhana is gone. This doctors may know, maybe doctors don't do it, the people who work in the hospitals may know, carrying a live person and a dead person, there's a big difference. Simply because udhana is gone, there's no buoyancy. The fourth dimension is called vyana. This is preservative in nature. If vyana recedes, even when you're alive, body will begin to rot. There are certain types of snake venoms which can do this. If they bite you, you will not die, but literally parts of the body will start falling apart simply because vyana will recede and it will start falling apart. So, once vyana recedes, the rotting process will begin. There are systems in yoga where we want all the seven to go reasonably together, within 1.5 hours we want it to go. In normal death, depending upon the age of a person, how vibrant a particular body is, it may take a long time. When I say long time, up to 14 hours it may take. Vyana may take up to 14 days to leave. This is the reason why in this culture you have rituals running up to 14 days, because they feel the vyana may be still there, because when you bury a person, the vyana may be still hovering there, so up to 14 days. That is the reason why within 1.5 hours, in this culture, that was the rule, if somebody dies within an hour and a half, you must cremate them. But then mistakes happened. When they were still alive, somebody put them on the funeral pyre, so they stretched it to 4 hours. Within 4 hours you must cremate. But today there are issues, all kinds of issues about it. So people are waiting for 1 day, 2 days, daughter is in America, she has to come, she'll come after 3 days and they will wait. But the idea is, for the one who is dead, we must understand this. You don't diagnose people as dead, you declare them dead, right? There's a difference. So when you declare them dead, for you they are dead. As far as that person is concerned, in a way, all that's happened is, he's disembodied. He's lost his body. All his life he lived thinking he's a body, never realizing the physical mass that we carry is an accumulation from this planet. He never realized that. When suddenly he slips out the body, he tends to hover around the body because he's lost his discriminatory intelligence. Once you leave the body, the discriminatory intellect is not there, so this tends to hover around that body. So in this culture we said, the moment we are sure that somebody is dead for sure, you must immediately cremate them, because it's good for that dead, so they know the game is up. And it's also good for the living. You will see, if somebody very dear to you is dead and their body is here, you keep on hallucinating, maybe they're just sleeping, maybe they will sit up, maybe some miracle will happen, maybe something else will happen, this will go on unnecessarily. You will see people are crying and big emotional drama is happening, but the moment you cremate them, you will see everybody become silent. Have you noticed this? Always. Because now everybody knows the game is up. It's for the living and for the dead. So about life leaving the system, it is so entrenched. It is not something, poop, it'll go away like this. In stages, it goes away. Because it's in stages, it came in. It's in stages, it'll go away.
The question is there rebirth? If it's…
What do you think?
I love it. Good explanation.
You think?
Well, yeah, them Puyana things, that white thing with dead bodies and all that's real, man. So it sounds plausible. The body doesn't start rotting straight away. You just don't ask yourself why. And all the twitching stuff takes place anyway. And like I said, people do treat the recently deceased as though them is alive in some ways. Them bodies still function. So them is still suddenly have a crop or a fart and them done dead from yesterday.
Yeah.
That's a good explanation. I'll listen to this one again too. Yeah, I like that story.
If it's there, what is the basis for one being to go from one birth to another? What is it that carries a person from one to another? Now if you need to understand this, you must have some understanding of the mechanics of who you are. I'm talking about the mechanics of how a human being is built. See, when you say I'm a human being, the outermost periphery is the physical body. In yoga, we look at everything as body because it is easier for you to understand that way. So we see the body as 5 dimensions or 5 sheets. Physical body is known as annamaya kosha. Annamaya kosha means… anna means the food. This is food body. Next one is called manomaya kosha. That means it's the mental body. The third one is called pranamaya kosha, which means the energy body. Physical body, mental body, energy body. All these 3 dimensions are physical. They are physical existence. Physical body is very gross, mental body is subtler, energy body is even subtler, but all these 3 are physical. It's just like the light bulb is physical, you can see that. The electricity behind also is physical, isn't it? The wire that connects is also physical, the electrons that flow through the wire also are physical existence. So similarly, physical body, mental body, pranic body, all are physical dimensions of life. This physical dimension of life, both in all these three dimensions, carries the imprints of karma. On the body it is imprinted, on the mind it's imprinted, and on the energy it's imprinted. This karmic imprints or the karmic structure is what holds it together. Karma is the cement which holds you to the physical body. Karma is the bondage. At the same time, it's only because of karmic stuff you can hold on to the body and be here. This is where spirituality seems to be difficult, because if you try to take it away, it doesn't work. If you try to add, it doesn't work. You need to be just there. If you're just there, it's a moment. Now, the next two dimensions are called Vijnanamaya Kosha and Anandamaya Kosha. Vijnanamaya Kosha is non-physical but related to the physical. It is like a transient state. Anandamaya Kosha is completely non-physical. And Anandamaya Kosha means it's the bliss body. There is a bliss body inside which is 100% non-physical. It has no form of its own. Only if the energy body, the mental body and the physical body are in shape, it can hold the bliss body in shape. If these things are taken away, the bliss body will just become a part of the cosmos. So whatever you are referring to as Atman or the soul is a fiction actually. In the sense, people are describing a certain limitation of the non-physical as a soul. But the body for the soul is still your karma. If the karmic structure is completely dismantled, there is no soul, everything merges into everything else. What is referred to as Mahasamadhi or Mahaparinirvana is just this, that you slowly understand where the keys are and dismantle the karmic structure so that you become truly no more. When somebody dies, we say, this person is no more. That's not true. That person is no more the way you know them, but they still very much exist. Now, if you dismantle the karmic structure 100%, now you merge with the existence. This is what is referred to as mukti, mahasamadhi. In Hindu tradition, it is referred to as mukti. In yogic tradition, it is referred to as mahasamadhi. In the Buddhist way, it is called as mahaparinirvana. Generally in English, we are saying liberation. Liberation means becoming free from the very process of life and birth and death. Liberation means becoming free from the basic structures of body and mind. And for all this, the karmic structure is the strings which hold these things together. So when a person dies, obviously the physical body is something that you borrowed from the earth. This body is just earth, isn't it? You understand? This physical body is just a piece of earth which is right now prancing around like this. But you have to pay it back, atom to atom, no interest though. But you have to pay back every atom. You won't be allowed to carry a single atom from this planet. Nobody has managed it. Physical body will fall apart. The mental body and the pranic body, depending upon the strength of your karma, goes on. If the karmic structure is very intense, unfinished, then it has to finish it. If the karma has become weak because it has run its course, then it very easily finds another body. If it has to find another body, the intensity of the structure should come down, it should become passive. If it is very intense, it cannot find, it has to hang. So this is what you're referring to as ghosts. Somebody is dead, his karmic structure is still intense because it's not over. Now he needs much more time to find another body, he still exists. And the more intense his karmic structure is, the more visible he becomes, or more experientially available to people. There are innumerable such beings all around you, if you do, whether you know it or you don't know it. But most of them you won't feel because their karma is dissipated. They're just waiting for more dissipation before they find another body. But if their karma is very intense, this is why they told you in the tradition, if somebody dies unnaturally, either by accident or suicide or some other way, they will become ghosts. It is not so, everybody becomes. It is just that they are more experienceable. They are more available to your experience because they have more intense karmic structures. So you people may experience them little more than other beings who die of old age. If one completely completes his allotted karma for that life, he will die just like that, without disease, without accident, without any injury. When one dies simply like that person may find another body within hours. This is why in this tradition always they said, if one completes his life and dies peacefully, it's the best way to die because he need not hang around. Immediately it goes on. Now when you walk the spiritual path, the ultimate goal for every spiritual seeker is, he wants to break this whole process. Or otherwise, to use an analogy, we can say, what you call as my soul right now is like a bubble. The outer periphery of the bubble is your karmic structure. Inside, there is air. Suppose you blow the bubble, you burst the bubble, where is the air? Where is your air? There is no such thing as your air, it's become part of everything. So what you call as soul is fictitious, because there is no such thing as your soul and my soul and somebody else's soul. Right now, this unboundedness is contained in the limited karmic structure, so it makes you believe as if this is a separate entity. If you take away the keys which hold the karmic structure, then it just collapses. So, this afterlife, next birth, don't believe all this nonsense. But right now if you sit here and just close your eyes, you can clearly see more than this body you are, isn't it?
Your physical body is something that you have loaned from the planet on which you're living. When the time comes, the planet will claim it back. But the other dimensions of you, especially the karmic shell, continues to play. If it is in a certain level of awareness, the disembodied being is in a certain state of pleasantness. It is this that is being referred to as heaven, because they have left their physical body in a certain state of awareness. They enjoy the sweetness at a certain period of time. A holiday, a vacation, before you take on another physical body. Similarly, if people live in certain states of fear, anxiety, anger, in certain states of ignorance, the karmic shell has acquired a certain kinds of unpleasantness about itself. This unpleasantness is what we refer to as hell.
Normally when somebody dies, we say, this person is no more. But that's not the truth. He's no more the way you experience him, but he still is in many other ways.
Don't take body lightly. It's not a small imprisonment. Unless you break it open, you can't leave it, isn't it? But when one realizes how they got in, now they know how to leave.
If a person consciously sheds the body without damaging the body in any way, like you shed your clothes, you shed your body fully consciously. then we say this is Mahasamadhi. When a person lives like this, that's the end. Truly no more. Once again, whatever you called as myself has just dissolved and become a part of the cosmos. Full circle. Nothing is nothing.
योगश्चित्तवृत्ति निरोध तदा द्रष्टुः स्वरूपे अवस्थानम्।
Yeah, I got no arguments with it.
Like, I think quite like that. I just believe when you die, it's not that you're... I don't think you as a person exists. So when you say like you as a person still exists, you've just been disembodied. That allows room for people to say that, you know, their personality still exists. The person who they were exists. So essentially it's just your body that doesn't carry on. Whereas I believe, again, your energy exists. You know, like when they tied into the first part where he was talking to the spinal doctor, and he was saying about how, you know, your brain doesn't shut down straight away. And yeah, because them things take time. That doesn't mean that you're still alive. Like once they pronounce you dead, that's just a measuring tool. Yeah, that's just a measuring tool. But when they pronounce you dead, that's a measuring tool. But of course, it's going to take your body time to degrade and all the electrical circuits, all the energy to leave your body. That's going to take an amount of time. But that doesn't mean that you're still alive. In essence, it just means that it's like you know, you water the grass and you turn the tap off, and you still get the little bit of water come out after. It's in essence the same thing. So I personally believe when we die, that our energy goes, it transforms, and we become part of the universe. I don't think there's any... I don't believe your conscious, your personality, your memories, I feel like all of that goes. Now, there's a lot of people obviously who don't believe that, because people have memories of past lives, don't they? Or say they do, whether they do or they don't, that's, you know.
Well, they have something, that's for sure, because, you know, it's worldwide. It's not specific to any particular group. And then there's a lot of thinking around this stuff. Nobody can know because no one's come back from the dead. But in terms of having a theory and explaining why certain things happen, I think that was as good as any. Yeah, genes and shut down now. The disembodiment, again, just terminology. The point is what he's saying is that the attachment is with the physical. You know, our greater attachment is someone dies, it's there, people mourn longer, they burn it, get rid of it, disembody the person. Then the other state, the mental state and the spirit.
That was quite interesting, wasn't it?
So just detach it from the body and they can get on to just chanting and worshipping the other states if they want any sort of connection. But having the body around is a distraction, effectively. Yeah, nobody gets up in the same suit that we're aware of anyway. So, and I always said, you know, babies seem to fit into a body as them get older, them fitting in and different things kick in, and that's the way it works on the way out, I would imagine as well. So it sounds, like I said, one viewpoint of it. You know, the different Hindu-specific koshas and all these different things. It helps. It helps because it gives you a framework to hang it on in the absence of having a framework, because we're basically raised on you die and then you go to heaven. That's as far as, you know, our day-to-day society would take the thing. No real explanation. If you didn't go to church, you go into hell. If you went to church, then you... Yeah, but what about... They're trying to explain the stages, like why the body gets heavy, why this happens, why that happens. And I like that. That's breaking it down into.
I think like out of all the religions, you know, that I've ever studied or researched or read up on, Hinduism definitely has the most detailed explanations or the most crossovers with scientific viewpoints from all of them, I think personally.
Yeah, I think, you know, Hinduism just kept its information alive a bit better than the other people. Because the carvings, why are they carving so dramatic and full of information, whereas everybody else has really institutional type flat sides, great shapes and all these kind of things, but there's no information. The odd carving here and there, a few hieroglyphs, but a Hindu temple is like all sorts of different things going off at the same time, and there's mind blowing, and so they've just better hanging on to their information. If we go with, you know, there is an catastrophic world event and everybody goes and only a few people survive and they have to rebuild the whole school of thought. This is what I said. The Hindus' infrastructure gives you more information straight away than just a pyramid.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it's just nobody knows. Nobody ain't come back from death as far as I'm aware. Everything is a hope, the faith thing. But there's nothing wrong with having people actually talking about it. It's easy to confront if it's something you talk about, whereas if it's just a taboo subject, when you get there, all you're doing is shitting yourself. Because you've just spent your whole life waiting for the hell moment, and whereas what they're saying is it's stages and it's a process and it's not as brutal as that. So
yeah. So it is true, and like they said, you know, once you leave your body, you should be in a state of calm.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, man. That was the Guru, the truth about heaven and hell. We out.
Peace.
Peace.